Problem number 6. If you double the sides of a rectangle, then the perimeter increases by a factor of blank, and the area increases by a factor of blank. Okay, well, let's find the answer to these questions. So, we are doubling the sides of a rectangle. So let's start off with a very simple rectangle. And we'll have lengths of 2 and widths of, or heights of 1. So let's talk about perimeter. The perimeter here is going to be 2 times 2 plus 1. We're going to add our length and width, multiply it by 2. 2 plus 1 is 3, times 2 is going to be 6. And the area is going to be 2 times 1, which is going to be 2. Okay, so let's take a look at the next rectangle. Now, to get to the next rectangle, we need to double the side. So we're going to multiply the lengths and the width by 2. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. 1 times 2 is going to be 2. Now let's talk about our perimeter. Perimeter is going to be equal to 2 times 4 plus 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is going to be 12. And our area is going to be 4 times 2. And 4 times 2 is going to be 8. Okay, now, let's just see if we can answer these questions right now. The perimeter will increase by a factor of blank. So, when we say increase by a factor of, this is basically saying to go from point A to B, we're going to multiply by what? So let's answer the question. What would you have to multiply 6 by to get 12? Well, the answer would be 2. Now I'm just going to put this in gray because I'm going to want to ask this question, does this always hold true? I mean, we can see that for this set of rectangles, is that always going to be true? Let's talk about the area. The area increases by a factor of, so by a factor of means that we are asking the question, multiply by what? To go from 2 to 8, what do you have to multiply 2 by to get 8? The answer is 4. Now, this is true for these two rectangles. Is it always true? That's my question. Well, let's go to the next rectangle. Let's double the length and the width. 4 times 2 is going to be 8. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. Let's talk about perimeter. Perimeter is going to be equal to 2 times 8 plus 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. And my area is going to be 8 times 4. And 8 times 4 is a 32. Now, let's compare rectangle 2 and 3. Let's talk about perimeter. What do we have to multiply 12 by to get 24? The answer is 2. What do we have to multiply 8 by to get 32? The answer is 4. So, if we kept on going to the next rectangle and to the next rectangle, we could show that this is true. The perimeter will always increase by a factor of 2, and the area will always increase by a factor of 4 as long as we are doubling the sides of the rectangle. Okay, that's a nice little exploratory problem. Is exploratory a word? I don't know. 7. Find the perimeter and area of a right triangle with a hypotenuse of 25 inches and with one leg measuring 7 inches. Okay, so we have a right triangle. So I'm just going to draw a sketch of a right triangle. And it tells me that we have a hypotenuse of 25 inches and one of the legs is 7 inches. So it doesn't matter which leg you label. We could label it, this leg is 7 and then our hypotenuse is 25. We want to know what is the perimeter and what is the area. Now, to answer these questions, we're going to need to know this missing side. Let's call this missing side B. In order to answer the questions of perimeter and area, we need to know what B is. So how do we go and find B? Well, remember from a previous section, the Pythagorean theorem, which says that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. This is what we're going to use in order to find B. So, let's go and find B. We'll let the 7 be equal to A. We'll let 25 be equal to C. So we have 7 squared plus B squared is equal to 25 squared. 7 squared is 49. 25 squared is a 625. We need to subtract 49 on both sides. So that is going to give us a 576. Then we need to take the square root of both sides. The square root will cancel out with the exponent of 2. Let's take our calculator out and evaluate the square root of 576. And we get 24 exactly. B is equal to 24. Now, again, this is not our answer, but we're going to use this value for B to answer the questions of perimeter and area. So let's talk about perimeter. The perimeter of a triangle is A plus B plus C. So our perimeter is going to be 7 plus the 24 plus the 25. Uh, 24 plus 25 is a 49. 49 plus 7 is a 56. And we are talking about inches, so we're going to write 56 inches. There is our perimeter. Area. The area for a triangle is our base our base times the height. Base times height divided by 2. Now, again, let's just highlight. The base is going to be, in our right triangle figure, is going to be the 7. The height is going to be the B, and we're going to divide by 2. So, base times height 7 times 24 divided by 2. If I didn't have a calculator out, I would take 24 and divide it by 2 to get 12. And then 7 times 12 is going to be equal to 84. And we're going to have inches squared. Now, before we go on to the next problem, I just want to point out a couple of things. The way that I drew this triangle, I just arbitrarily drew a right triangle. Now, when I labeled this long side as 7. But when we did our calculation for B, it came out to be 24, and that would be the short side. Now, clearly, if you look at this diagram, it kind of doesn't make sense that this should be 7 and this should be 24. It looks like they should be switched. And that, I agree, it looks like it should be switched. But I just want to make the point that it doesn't matter how you draw your triangle or how you label it. If you had drawn the same triangle and labeled this as 7, 25, we would still discover that B would be equal to 24, and you would still have the same area formula, base times height divided by 2. You would still have 24 times 7 divided by 2. The only difference is 7 times 24 versus 24 times 7, they're the exact same. Even if you drew your right triangle like this, I don't know, maybe you drew it this way. You call that 25, and maybe you call this 7, and you discovered that B is equal to 24. Or maybe you labeled this A. I don't know. The point that I'm trying to make is this. You're still going to discover the missing side to be 24. You're still going to discover that the perimeter is 56 inches. You're still going to discover that the area is 84 inches squared.